Just 1 second. Where did it go? Looking for my lynxes. There we go. Just grabbing one more thing out of there. Here it is.
Still Park, Southwest.
Hold on. All right, now we go. Now we got it. We got it. We got it. We do. And oh, Chip, I have cat hair on me. Sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hal Sparks Megaworldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. I'm your host, Hal Sparks, and I will continue to Hal Sparks for the foreseeable future, which will go on interminably. I have told people this before, and I get pushback all the time, but I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that the world is not going to end, and those who are on the ups will sometimes be on the downs, and the vice and the versa. And the higher they fly, the closer they get to the sun, and then their wax wings burn up, and then an Iron Maiden song breaks out. See, there's swings and roundabouts. Every cloud has a silver lining, as it were. And we will have a focus going on. There's a lot of stuff, I have to say, where the apprehension that everyone's feeling, the anxiety they're feeling is about what's going to happen. Some of it we know, and therefore it's like a jump scare in a movie that you're sure is going to happen. And then sometimes that jump scare turns out to be a cat. Yes, we've all experienced that. Yes? Okay. As a matter of fact, let me bring the chat in because I want to ask something of you. And this is a genuine question. This is a genuine question, everybody. Here you go. This is did the election of Donald Trump last time or this time change you as a person? And I don't mean how you feel. And I don't mean the things you do, because circumstantially there's things that shift. But you as a person, your values, your ethics, your belief in the world, did it change you? Okay, Brandon says yes. That's the only one. Most people are saying no. We'll see why. There's a yes in there. Okay. Did it change you? And I'm curious how. Because even if I drill down deep, I think how you feel. I'm not talking about if it changed how you feel or your belief about the world. But it did change your ethics, your core beliefs. Okay. That's, let's see. I appreciate things more. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your direction in your life, what you think is good in the world and what you think is bad in the world, what you work towards getting better at, and what you what you believe is important, is a priority that you believed beforehand that you no longer think is a priority. And I'm not talking about superficial versus deep. I'm talking about your essence. Okay, strengthening your convictions is not what I'm talking about, because that just means that's an activity. That's a sort of a material response to the reality, but not your ideals. I'm talking about your ideals as a human being. You're still crazy after all these years. Still crazy after all these years, right? Okay, disappointment's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about before Donald Trump showed up, did you think women's rights were important? And do you now think they aren't? I'm not talking about your beliefs in other people. I'm talking about your, what we call in the world of Stoic optimism, your locus of control, this not locust, but locus, the local area that you have control over in your life, which is not only the material world directly within your arm's reach, but also your feelings, your beliefs, yourself. Okay, still you, regardless of the environment. Okay. Did, beyond the stuff that, if something was threatened in that moment, the rights of minorities, the rights of women, the rights of the downtrodden, your belief in the Americans with Disabilities Act and the value that it adds to our world, those things, if those were in your belief and someone came along and challenged those things, would your response, because you truly believe in them, be, well, fuck? Well, again, because if it was, that's okay. If it was, and by the way, some people are saying, yes, I've moved further left. That's a curious take on that. That I would have to drill down on whether or not that is a genuine material shift or simply a deepening of the issues you had previously or the beliefs you've had previously, right? Okay. And this would be, and then I'll give you another one. This is the inversion of this. Anybody in this at all, anybody here, afraid of spiders? Anybody afraid of spiders? Anybody have or snakes? I mean, because that's pretty integral to somebody. I'm not, but when somebody feels it, they fucking feel it. Am I right? Snakes and spiders. Like, it's a straight up phobia. It is completely irrational. It is because, again, you are as big as the Empire State Building to this fucking thing, and yet you're scared of it. I get it. It is a phobia and it is real. But if you had this thing, if you had this phobia, and there was a spider or a snake between you and a baby that was going to be harmed, not even by that spider or snake, a bookcase is falling over and it's going to fall on a toddler. Would your fear of that snake or that spider, as irrational and strong and visceral and in your bones and in your cells as it is, would that make you go, ugh, so much that you would just let the thing fall on the child? Right. Even your unreasonable, anxious feeling about something that is beyond, absurd would be overridden by your deeper ethical belief, right? Goes beyond your anxious fear of, and believe me, like I'm saying, people who are arachnophobic or have fear of snakes, it is an incredibly powerful, almost instantaneous feeling. But all of them, whenever tested, would move past that to save the child. Okay? Right? No. And everybody's like, is it baby Hitler? Is it baby Trump? No. Toddler Hitler or toddler Trump pushed the fucking, for this analogy, they pushed the bookcase over and it's falling on the other child. Okay? Also, if you're there, the timeline of baby Hitler, baby Trump changes because it's a different circumstance. No child has a preordained destiny where they're going to grow up to be a monster. If you're ever in a position, again, if you're like, if you go back in time, could you kill Hitler when they were a baby? No, I think, adopt the child. Knowing the direction that shit goes, I'd probably abduct the kid and raise him well. I don't believe in evil genetics. That's Trump shit. Okay, but I think many of you get where I'm going with this. That life is not what happens, it's how you react to it. And every day when you get up in your life, the focus of your life should be, for most people, within the realm of your ability, to do good and be good. Right? For yourself, for your family, for the people around you, and certainly in a political sense and in a geopolitical sense, within any realm of possibility of not physically harming yourself, do good and be good for others. You voted right. You voted the way you believed. You might have been overwhelmed by the other vote, but that doesn't change who you are. That's not why you did it, okay? Somebody like tell, all right, whatever. Okay? So what I would like everyone to focus on, and this includes, I guess my advice would go out to any of the maggots and trolls in the chat room. And by the way, thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate you being here. I'm sure you're skating around looking for meltdowns. This ain't that place. That happens everywhere. Don't ever confuse my passion and anger for a meltdown. And don't ever think that I lose myself in that stuff, because that's what a meltdown is. A meltdown, for example, let me give you an example. A meltdown is not someone in like the Women's March the first time Trump was elected screaming in public. A meltdown is attacking the Capitol and shitting on the desk of the Speaker of the House, or building a gallows to kill the sitting vice president of the person that you elected last time. That would be a meltdown, if that makes sense, okay? A meltdown is not reacting passionately to something you wish went the other way by any stretch. Just letting you know. So, and again, there are people having them. Don't get me wrong. Please, yeah, you will. They're not even hard to find, my friend. But you're not going to find one here, because I, in my life, have always practiced what I would call stoic optimism. Keep funny and carry on, as it were. And just because Trump won the election is not, and this is something I've always talked about with our Democratic friends when it goes our way, is getting elected. Getting elected is not, you don't win a contest, you get a job. And it's a job you're expected to actually do. And a lot of times we politically, especially when there's change in it, I think Obama really triggered this in a lot of people. And this is post George Bush as well. And it seemed like 8 years of fucking Dick Cheney running the White House. And it was very tumultuous. And we got into a war in Afghanistan and Iraq that cost our country somewhere in the area of, $9 to $11 trillion for nothing, and weapons of mass destruction, blah, blah, blah. All that shit, all that awful ended on the same time we elected the first black president. Okay? And so there was a big kind of, oh shit, America did something big. But it did not automatically solve the underlying problem just because he got elected. Okay? And so Obama got the job, and he got it, quite frankly, at one of the worst times ever. Right? He got it one of the worst times, of any Democratic president, right after the 2008 crash. And one of the things that I think actively we could have done better as Democrats was defend the recovery, right, as it went forward, okay? Now, many of the rights that we are concerned, rightly so, that will go away under Trump, and that he, all the shit that he's promising to do that's awful, and some of the stuff that he'll never get around to doing, whatever. And there's a reason to believe, again, that if you're Joe Biden right now and you have super immunity, there is a lot he's going to be doing in the next 71 days, right? He might be out there going, we're going to pass this on and there's going to be a peaceful transfer of power, but he's not ignorant of the threat that Donald Trump poses. And I think there's a lot that he can do between now and January 20th. And that's, and there's a lot of stuff we're going to have to do between now and then to prepare for what Trump plans to do that will harm certain people, that we may have to make decisions about how we help people. And I got news for you. People in history have always had to do that. Right? Throughout history, there was a time when all the rights that Trump is intending to take away never existed in the first place. And people stepped up. There have been underground railroads. There have been people building, coding networks to talk about all kinds of stuff and to take care of people who are under threat. Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier something about you're in a household with a Jewish family under the floorboards of a house and the baby starts crying. What do you do? Because the Nazis are upstairs. Okay, like the first opening scene of Inglourious Basterds is one of the greatest moments of tension in film in the last. I think it's the greatest short film of the last since 12:01 p.m., which I think was made in 1992. And it really is a play of what would you do in the same situation, right? And what you prepare for knowing that this contingency can happen, okay? People throughout history have gone through worse versions of this. Does that make sense? They have. And people have, on the entire spectrum of physical and mental ability, have stepped up to do amazingly heroic things. The good you do and the good you are does not change because of the outside circumstances. How you exercise it and how difficult it might be is absolutely a reality. But it doesn't mean you're changing as a being. There tends to be it's like everyone falls back into that. And it is materially not true. It's not even that people feel that way and it doesn't have to be that way. It ain't. Now, there are definitely people, and you can let me know in the chat room. Please let me know. And I've got a couple of videos today for you because I'm changing sort of a little bit the layout of the show because to deal with how people are dealing with this. And then we'll get up to speed as stuff starts coming out that's more than just kind of the gloat reflex everybody is having. Although that stuff is going to be fucking hilarious to watch middle of next year. What I want people to focus on is that it's not a matter of did it change, did it change your circumstances? It's did it change you? No. Now, some people do change. And if you're one of those people that would become a capo in the camps of Auschwitz just to stay alive, then this ain't the show for you either. If you're one of the people who would say they're in there so they leave you alone, this isn't going to be the show for you for the foreseeable future. Right? Yeah. This will be a place for me as your designated court jester for the true kings of America, which are the people themselves, to laugh at the man who would be king, because our court is a democratic one. And I have that right. It is my responsibility. And who I am as a person does not change because the circumstances change. It didn't in 2016 when I fully expected Hillary to win and wanted her to win. In the back of my head, did I go, ugh, we're working with a lot of misogyny here. We're working with a lot of, even the minority base that makes up a big chunk of the Democratic Party ain't ready for a woman yet, because of where they come from and their culture and all that kind of stuff. And it overlaps with a bunch of these dominionist Christians and that kind of shit. That was in the back of my head. But I was like, you know what? Come on, baby. And it wasn't quite there yet because we've done Obama, right? And there was a feeling like, all right, maybe we're there. But we ain't. We ain't there yet. And to get there is going to take some convincing. And that's the work that has to be done. Hillary was a great woman, a great candidate. If Harris had a year to do this, she might have been fine. Was it possible that Biden could have won on his own? Absolutely. There's all that is true. Water under the bridge. The question is, do you allow this circumstance change to change who you are? And I look, people will be talking about the details of it. People will be talking about the if this and if only this and if only this. That many of those are true. Some of them are red herrings. Some of them are rabbit holes that people will chase. Right? But I will tell you this, because time has passed, and this is the day we are alive in right now. That is a lesson. And Monday morning quarterbacking is not going to help us in this. It's just our behavior going forward that will affect this. How do we do it? And when people are really in harm's way, because again, I almost have a job in the sportsing of politics because I mock it. But the reason is because I believe that my enemy, their biggest weakness is mockery. That I have no tools available to me other than my vote to 10x my impact, except my humor and what I talk about here. Does that make sense? Okay. And it is very important to me that regardless of the circumstance, I still stay who I am. My values don't change. One of the things that I see in the right, for example, and this is what the faux Christianity stuff is all about, is that they do not do that well. They let the circumstances change who they are. They may have at one point believed that Jesus Christ was their Lord and personal Savior and Christmas was a lovely holiday. And now they're calling for the killings of people and they stormed the Capitol and that's what they did. They're the one, that's how they do it. That's not how I'm going to live my life. And if you get that, and if that's something that interests you and resonates with you, then welcome home. Glad to have you here. You can come and go as you please. Okay? And we're going to keep our heads up and we're going to stay funny and sharp and not let anxiety and fear fixate us on that so that we don't have all of our capacity available to us. We made it through all of Trump. I was there for only 1 year of it. My show started, if you'll remember, I started doing this on the regular during the lockdown, right? And now I'm going to be here through this whole fucking thing and if they come and knock on my door and try to drag my ass away, I will not go quietly. I will go out funny. I'm just letting you know. Whatever it is, it'll be fucking hilarious. And I will keep saying what I'm going to say, and I will keep making the point I'm going to make because the direction of the election did not change, A, who I am, and B, the idiocy of their plans. And a lot of the failures of the Trump administration that is coming in are predictable. Do I have my cinder block? Yes, I do. Right? A lot of what they're going to do is predictable as hell. We're going to be able to see it coming because they are very egomaniacal in it. They're very ham-handed in it. They're not smart enough to be sneaky about it. Right? And so as they start messing around in those areas, I'm going to be there to go, here it comes, and this is how they're doing it, and this is how they'll try to do this, and this is how they'll get away with this. As best I can, I will be on top of that shit. Because then you guys can be prepped for this so that you can not only help yourself, but you can help somebody else. That's my goal, that this is a ripple effect that makes sure that people who are stuck in a situation, and I'm not standing right next to them because this is happening in your state where you are, that you have that ability. that make sense? So, and again, these are the values that I hold dear and that are genuine to how I live. And there's going to... I'm a big fan, by the way, of what few trolls are showing up. I feel like there's been a drop-off in trolls because a lot of them are bots. So I hope the ones we do have are real. I hope you're real people. Because I want you to see what strength and self-assuredness and intellect and hope looks like. For real, not this bravado. The sun will shine out of my butthole and everything's going to be great on day one. Like he's already missed his deadline on the Ukraine war. It was 24 hours after he wins the election. He was supposed to clear that shit up. Not happening. Won't happen 24 hours after the fucking inauguration either. And Biden has, and the State Department and everybody in the DOD has 2 months to fucking stack that shit so they're good. Just letting you know that if you are, if you're expecting that, you come to the wrong place. Because I'm Hal Sparks. And I Hal Sparks, baby. I Hal Sparks like nobody else Hal Sparks. You know what the best thing about me saying Hal Sparks all the time is now my name is stuck in your head. And in the middle of you grinding on some other site, I'm sure if you're not paid, I mean, if this is your job, I apologize if you have a trolling job and you're in Macedonia or fucking Memphis and you've been paid to sit there and gripe at shit and you're worried about now that Trump's been elected, like, oh my God, will they even need me? And, is there money to be made? Can I get hired by the DNC to do that shit? For them, I understand. But if you're a real troll, then I want you to know that sometime next week, I don't know when, it'll probably be, let's say Tuesday, around lunchtime, you're gonna be eating or masturbating in the middle of the day, whatever you do to try to stem the loneliness and the vacuous nature of your life. And my name is gonna pop into your head. Hal Sparks. It's just gonna like a balloon popping, like a sneeze, like every so often, like a building sneeze. My name is just gonna go right into your head. Hal Sparks. And it'll probably happen, and I'm sorry about this, it's gonna happen right about the time you're like getting excited about something you see online. And you're going to go, the libs are going to liberal tears or whatever the shit, and you get right at the moment you're getting excited about it. And my name is going to go right into your head, Hal Sparks, pow. And you're going to go, fuck. Because you're going to know there's one guy out there who ain't shaken. You hear me? For real. Again, and I know you're going to go, it's cope. Asshole, it's never been cope. Not here. You'll see other people doing it. Don't get me wrong. You'll see other people with false bravado and shit, and you'll be able to recognize it when it happens because it's what Trump does all the time. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at his winning night speech. He didn't even know he won. He's going to be, and again, I don't wish him on this. This is not this is a health-related thing. I don't think he's going to make it a year and a half. Right? And we'll deal with, President Vance when that happens, whatever. That'll be hilarious for me too. But I'm here to tell you that I'm going to be the name that pops into your head when you're having the best moment about this but you're still a little nervous because you're like, oh, I hope he doesn't fuck this up, because he's going to. It's what he does. This is the man who loses through winning. He gets Taj Mahal, he's wanted his whole life, and he needs his dad to bail him out. He manages to do it, and then it collapses, and he loses his gaming license, and he goes bankrupt. It's what he does. He gets it, and everybody's like, how the fuck did he pull that off? And then it happens every time. Even getting out of these, again, I've said in many ways that Trump, if he'd have gone to jail, it'd been the best night's sleep he's had in his life. Because there's a tremendous release in being completely fucked. Right? So, right. So now, now he's like, oh shit, I got to do this. And he does. He's got to do it. And I got to tell you, baby, he's got 24 hours to fix gas prices and fix grocery prices and all that shit. January 20th, man. As soon as he goes, I got it, Trump. You know what? I'll let him finish the oath. He doesn't mean it anyways, but we'll just let him go through it. As soon as he's done saying it, I tell him whatever the fucking final words on it. I'm gonna click. I'm gonna start a timer on him. As a matter of fact, that live stream that day, when I'm doing a live stream on the day, I'm gonna start a little timer that I'm just gonna run on my live stream. It just kind of goes. And I'm going to tell you, 24 hours are going to pass and shit ain't going to happen. Now, let me tell you something, though. Next year, by hook or by crook, no matter who is going to be president, oil prices are going to go down. You know why? Because there's going to be an oil glut. Why? Because of China. That's it. Why are stocks going up so rapidly? Because they believe a deregulation is coming. Doesn't matter. You look at the bond market. They expect them to run up debt. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you the other reason, too, is because some of the economic trends we're talking about aren't going to change. They weren't going to change for Harris, and they weren't going to change for him. That's how shit works. But, yeah. And also, but that doesn't change supply chains. Right? The other thing, too, is a bunch of companies are investing right now because they got to buy a bunch of shit before his tariffs go into place. And we've seen a bunch of that. So anyways, we'll talk about... no, China does not produce oil. It's because their use of oil, their purchase of oil is going down. They don't need it. So the cost of oil goes down and the usage of oil goes down and it falls off a cliff. And now oil is cheap, really cheap, too cheap. We'll get to that as we go. I'm telling you. But I'm here to I just wanted to open the show with that, is that for my viewers who watch for real, who actually give a damn, and who are actually committed to the things we were committed to before the election and going forward. Who you are has not changed. What you might have to do to show what you're for might have changed. Right? Does that make sense? But what you're going to do and how you feel about the issues you believe, the material implications of that will change, but your belief system and your ethics do not. Meanwhile, Republicans are absolutely the morally vacuous, flexible ones. The irony is there, and we'll talk about that a bunch too, because their Christianity is for fucking sale, and you can see that in the chat room from, especially in the Facebook trolls. I think we have. We don't have that many. I understand they're all taking a break. I think they're probably hungover, but. But they'll be back in droves because they won't understand. They'll think that somehow me criticizing Trump is the reason he's failing at what he tries to do. And he'll be a good show president for them. He'll do his little 250th anniversary shit, and he'll want parades and stuff like that. He'll golf a lot. They'll make his tax cut permanent, even though it's only as permanent as passing an actual new tax bill. So whatever. Again, nothing in this world is, if there's one thing that's permanent in this world, it's impermanence, my kids. So there we go. I really do I wanted to start off with that for you guys. And then I want to show you who we're dealing with. And there are a couple of people that are floating around Trump's orbit that are problematic and scary for everybody, and there's issues with them, and we will deal with them as they come. And again, our laws and institutions will still hold. They will wiggle them as much as they can, but a big portion of them will still hold. And the funny thing is Donald Trump, if he survives his first term and is voted out the next time, he will still commit a crime on his way out the door that's prosecutable. He'll just do it. It's what he does. He's a fucking idiot. Is there concern about Stephen Miller? Absolutely. And that's why we have to be in a position where our states, our governors, our houses of representation, the places where we are have, protections for people who are vulnerable. And again, if you're in a panic, good. So what are my thoughts on the 25th Amendment? Considering I will probably, honestly, I think they would have thrown 25th Amendment at Biden middle of next term at some point because he's older. I think they would roll Trump around like Admiral Pike in a fucking chair, drooling on himself, rather than give him up because he's a cult head for them. So they're going to leave him. He'll, like Trump's last year in office, he'll just be farting they'll probably pull out Roosevelt's wheelchair and have him sit in it just for, I've decided this is my new chair. And he'll just, and then they'll just, it's like I said, Don Jr. is going to come out and go, make America great again. It'll be Weekend at Bernie's. All the things they said about Biden are true of Trump 100 times over, and he knows it, and they know it. And the stress of all this shit, it's done its damage. He's an old man. It's not good. The irony that if I didn't think he was a terrible person and deserved what's happening to him, it would be elder abuse, especially on him. So, anyways, let me show you something real quick. And this is consider these get to know him files, ladies and gentlemen. This is a video from the Tesla space, which I think is just one of these. I don't think it's an official Tesla. I mean, it is. It's an official channel, so maybe it is. They own this or whatever. But this is where Colossus is. This is Elon Musk's big supercomputer, and we'll watch this. This is about 10 minutes long. It's not that long, but I want to look at. I want you to know kind of who we're dealing with and all that kind of stuff. Don't underestimate Vance and Teal. I am not. That's why I want my wits about me.
Elon Musk and his XAI.
By the way, have you seen him lately? I think he's aging worse than Trump.
Startup have built the largest and most powerful artificial intelligence training supercomputer in the world.
Okay, so training supercomputer, okay, large language model things being what they are. He built a refrigerator full of servers. Awesome, good for you. Congratulations. You'll notice that there's a lot of the same languaging, sales language you will hear from other people, or from Trump, that he's selling the same bullshit. Most powerful, the biggest, the greatest, the whatever. It is by no means any of those things.
Elon has named this beast Colossus. It
is based on NVIDIA GPUs. Now, okay, here we go. Is it based on a Tesla GPU? Did he invent a new AI server that runs his shit? No. He's just got a bunch of these things, and they are the exact same ones everyone else is buying. The only difference is Microsoft and Apple, and I think Meta as well, beat him to the punch and bought the new chips that are coming out that are better, and he's still running on last year's model. So, and this video is from 4 days ago. Hold on, let's continue.
Is equipped with the latest NVIDIA GPU hardware.
No, it is not. The latest as of February, which is a full generation back by now.
It's liquid cooled with vast amounts of water and is powered by giant Tesla Megapack batteries. Elon believes that
which are arrays of rechargeable AA's.
All of this combined will create the world's most powerful artificial intelligence.
It certainly will, won't it? It will. It will? Didn't he just tell us it was the most powerful? Is there a difference between now and tomorrow? Okay, you see where I'm going with
one
this.
That will literally solve the mysteries of the universe.
Yeah. No, it won't. No, it won't. Also, I'd like to remind you that all of Trump's evangelical followers think this is Satan.
And what we see today is only the beginning.
Yes, it's the beginning of the greatest. It's not the greatest yet, but it will be the greatest.
This is what's inside Colossus.
No, No, it isn't. That's stock footage of columns of blue lights.
Location is Memphis, Tennessee, in an...
Yeah, that's right. It's Elvis AI, ladies and gentlemen. I think I've come up with a... I think I've come up with a good answer. Now, I might be what they call hallucinating, but I'm pretty sure the answer is jelly donut.
Industrial park southwest of the city center on the bank of the mighty Mississippi River. The building...
The mighty Mississippi River. That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to tell you that this supercomputer space is in Memphis, Tennessee. I wouldn't call it the heart of the South, but I would call it the spleen of the South. And because it may be optional, we don't know. It might be necessary, but it's helpful. So this is in Memphis, Tennessee, completely surrounded, by the way, with gutted. It's a factory down by the river. That's right. It's in a van down by the river, surrounded by mega churches and nothing else. And everyone in those mega churches right now thinks AI is the Antichrist and that Elon Musk is the devil. Hey, don't ask me about buttered sausage, okay?
The building itself wasn't constructed by XAI. It was previously home to Electrolux, which is a Swedish appliance manufacturer. So,
yeah, they bought an old factory. We know.
If you've been wondering why Elon chose Memphis and not Austin, it basically just comes down to finding the right building in the right location to get this thing up and running as fast as possible.
Yeah. You know what the other one is? Water, dumb fuck. Do you remember that whole mighty Mississippi thing? There's a distinct lack of Mississippi River in Austin.
Now, as unassuming as the exterior of Colossus might be, it's what's inside that counts. And
Gee, is that true of other server farms?
Inside is the largest AI training cluster in the world. Currently, over 100,000 NVIDIA HGX H100 GPUs connected with exabytes of data storage over a super fast network. NVIDIA
is so super fast.
CEO Jensen Huang has said himself that Colossus is, quote, easily the fastest supercomputer on the planet. And it was...
Yes, it makes mistakes quicker than anyone else.
All built to power Grok, an AI model.
Yeah, so, yeah, Grok, if you haven't noticed, is Elon Musk's dick AI. It's dick AI. That's what it is. It's cock. It should be called cock AI. Because it's just a cock. Like it talks to you like shit. It doesn't really. It's got the same limitations as other shit. And the funny thing is that you'd think it'd be like, fuck, you can look up anything. Like if you want to know how to make fucking ricine, it'll tell you. It doesn't. It's got the same limitations as everything else. And because of that, it's got the same material limitations on what it can process too.
Model that Elon Musk and XAI will evolve into something far more capable than a simple chatbot. This is the
It will. Trust us.
Breeding ground for artificial super intelligence. The entire facility as we see it was built in just 122 days. That is insane.
No, it is not. They didn't build it in 122 days. He took over Electrolux and then they set up warehouses next to it.
Traditional supercomputer cluster would have
again, expect a lot of nerding out because Trump thinks Elon Musk is going to figure out all of his problems. I'm telling you.
Half to 1/4 the amount of GPUs as Colossus, but the construction of those traditional systems would take years from start to finish. The training work happens in an area called the data hall. XAI uses a configuration known as the raised floor data hall, which splits the system into 3 levels. Above is
fascinating.
The power, below is the cooling, and in the middle is the GPU cluster. There are 4 data halls in
Yeah, asshole, that's how all of these work.
Inside Colossus, each with 25,000 GPUs plus storage and the fiber optic network that ties it all together.
Cool. Where do you store the dildo? This is so dumb.
Colossus uses water for liquid cooling. Below the GPU
Oh, that's what water looks like.
cluster is a network of giant pipes that move vast amounts of water in and out of the facility. Hot water from the server is sent outside to a chiller, which lowers the temperature of the
That's one of the reasons I needed you to see this. Right there. What does that say? Hey, maggots, I know some of you are here. Come here. What does that say? Real quick, you think there are pipe manufacturers in the United States? You think they exist? You think there's somebody who makes pipes? American pipe? You think we can lay some American pipe, motherfucker? Yeah? Anybody? Think so? Maggots, where are you now? You were ready to jump and make your big body X for him, right? Made in Mexico. Okay, there we go. We'll continue.
water by a few degrees before pumping it back in. This doesn't necessarily need to be cold water, though. Without getting too deep into thermodynamics, just remember that energy always travels from hot to cold. So as
Brilliant. Where did you read that?
long as the temperature of the water is lower than the hardworking GPUs, which get pretty hot, then the excess heat energy will be drawn into the water as it flows past and heat will be removed from the system. Here is what those
Yes, this is how liquid cooling has been working in desktop PCs for, yeah, dude, I have one of those. Okay, maybe they're talking to dum-dums, so we'll give it a pass. Maybe this is new to some people. And by the way, I apologize as a nerd if I'm blazing past some of this stuff where you're like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. So cold water makes hot stuff not as hot. When did that start?
those GPU racks look like.
I've noticed that when I make eggs, sometimes when I run water over them, they're still hot, but not as hot, but my fingers still go owie.
Each tray is loaded with 8 NVIDIA H100 GPUs, the current state-of-the-art chip for AI training. That will change
For AI training. Notice how they keep going back to AI training, and it keeps saying training, not processing. Training.
in a relatively short amount of time, and Elon already has plans to upgrade Colossus to the NVIDIA B200 chip when that becomes widely available, but
Widely available. When does that happen? Oh, he's in line behind Microsoft and Apple and Meta. That's when. You know why? He could have. I guess he had. It's about probably $8 billion to make sure you have. You could have bought your way to the front of the line, but he spent it on fucking Twitter. Do you see where I'm banking that again? I'm not pushing aside the seriousness of the damage that these assholes will seek to do, but I'm telling you, at least don't believe that they are fucking beating you at risk. Yeah, thanks, Joe Biden, for the chips. Well, everybody else will, yeah.
But for right now, there's no time to waste. There are 8.
Yeah, because he's behind. Anybody remember what did Elon Musk say about a pause? Remember the pause? We need an AI pause. Hold on. Let's see if I can show you that one. Elon Musk calls for AI pause. Yeah. Okay. What is Elon Musk calling? A 6-month pause. There it is. This is, when was this? This is, and March 29th last year. Hold on one second. This was the Elon Musk and others, whatever, calls for a pause in AI, citing profound risks to society. More than 1,000 tech leaders, researchers, and others. By the way, these are not the people who run the companies or the people above them at all. And he invested in OpenAI, so whatever. Signed an open letter urging a moratorium on the development of the most powerful artificial intelligence systems. Chief executive of Twitter, blah, blah, blah. There are more than 1,000 tech leaders, including Elon Musk, have urged open letter to AI, profound risk to society and humanity. AI developers are locked in an out-of-control race to develop and deploy more powerful digital minds that no one, not even their creators, can understand, predict, or reliably control. Others who signed it were Steve Wozniak, Andrew Yang, Rachel Bronson from the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists to do the Doomsday Clock, like all the people you would expect. But the question is, why did Elon Musk sign on to it? Because he's behind. He wanted time to catch up. This is his, hey, wait up, guys, nerd approach that he will never, and he's never going to outlast it. He's never going to catch up. He's too far behind. There's going to be a point where most people won't notice the difference, but in its functional use, there's a bunch that are far. I mean, that's why he's doing like these promo videos.
Of these racks built into one cabinet with a total of 64 GPU chips and 16 CPU chips in every vertical stack.
Yes, if you'll notice, the uniform size of these things and the uniform size of the things they are in. That's how big all of these things are. Everywhere, all the time.
Each of the racks has its own independent water cooler.
Yes, Velvet says there are real researchers. Yeah, here it is. Velvet Magneta says, I'm going to make you pop in here. Hold on. Where'd you go? Here it is. There are real researchers, though, asking for a pause. Absolutely. Yes, that's my point. Wozniak and others, I think they mean well. But why did Elon Musk ask for one? Because he didn't pause his own shit. He still continued with Grok the entire time he was participating in this. He didn't stop. He's like, I'm stopping. He didn't. You know why? Because he wanted them to stop so he could catch up. That's my point. Right. And he ain't gonna.
Cooling system with these small tubes that lead directly into the GPU housing, blue tubes for cold water delivery, and red tubes for hot water extraction.
Fascinating. Yes, you'll see that these things are in a uniform fashion. Many of these, the red one is the thing that says hot on it. So don't touch that one, kids. Motherfucker.
Extraction. The beauty of these GPU racks built for
is that apparently he didn't get enough chips to fill one more rack above them, I suppose. He could have had a whole extra full rack of processors, but he couldn't afford them or something.
by Supermicro is that each one can be pulled individually for maintenance, and it's serviceable on the tray. That means the entire...
Yeah. Brilliant. How did Elon Musk think this up? Oh, he looked at other server farms and went, do that, but get me more of them. Great, cool. Does that make the software better? No.
Entire cabinet doesn't need to be shut down and disassembled just to replace one chip. The technician...
Yes, that's how all server farms work, motherfucker.
Can simply pull the rack.
Here's the important part. Jesus Christ. Is that this is the Tesla Space, which is a verified channel. So I guess I don't know if they're promoting him or they're part of him, but either way, they've got a newsletter, the Tesla Space. They sell all this shit. So they're in line. They got 500,000 subscribers on this thing. But imagine, I mean, this is smart stuff for dumb people. Yeah, it's an Elon Musk as a cup for dummies video. That's exactly what it is.
Perform the service right there on the tray and then slide it back in and get back to training. This is unique in the AI industry.
Yeah, get right back at it. Hey, jump back in there, kiddo.
Only XAI has a setup like this, and it will allow them to keep their downtime to an absolute minimum.
Gibberish. Only X has that nonsense. It's literally how all of them work. This is uniform. Even people, Jesus Christ. Anybody in the chat, please, fuck me. Has anybody in the chat room really ever been to a place that has server farms in them of any sort, or processing farms or any of that shit? Anybody ever been to fucking Google or Apple or any of those places? Or even seen these places? They're all designed that way for that reason. You fucking dipshit. They're all that way. There is zero that is special about this. And again, they're going to find out the hard way. He's so far ahead of everyone else. No, he's not. And that's why he needs all this fucking government money so he can get a jump start. And by the way, some folks are watching this on Twitter right now. You know what the server farms at fucking Twitter look like? They look like this. It's the same shit. It's just different connectivity, maybe, with some of it. What are you talking about? Ah, God. It's but at least it's not hooked up to the kidney, you know.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
Yeah, okay, I would agree. Okay, we continue.
Same is true for the water system. Each cabinet has its own cooling management unit.
By the way, this is not that guy's voice, so do not hold anything against the tech who's explaining this, who's saying the exact same shit, I have no doubt, in whatever the original
At the base
footage.
that's responsible for monitoring flow rate and temperature.
Yes, it's available now from Super Micro. It's a double rack mounted. You can get it in units of 4 or perhaps 2 and run it. This is our parallel system, which is cool. It's basically a refrigerator. Jesus Christ.
With an individual water pump that can easily be removed.
By the way, this site sells a Cybertruck 2077 t-shirt for just $30. So, yeah.
And service. Now, the thing to keep in mind about gigantic computer systems like this is that...
Whoa, 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 whoa. Not like this. This is AI. This is fucking stock footage you got off of fucking Canva, you dumb motherfucker. I wouldn't show this if you're showing what the real thing looks like, because it's clearly set up in an old office building, you dumb fuck. This looks like the room that fucking Quaid turns on in Total Recall. Where do I put my hand on the thing? Jesus Christ.
That things will break. There's no way to avoid that. But having a plan to keep failures localized and get problems solved as fast as possible, that is going to make an incredible difference in the overall productivity of the cluster.
Sorry. Okay, first of all, it starts to look way shittier after you show the other stuff and like, who pulled the Ethernet cables on this? God damn it. The other thing is like, wait a minute. You think he invented having spare parts nearby? This is like a concept of an AI supercomputer.
The back of each cabinet is a rear door heat exchanger. That's basically just a really big fan that pulls air through the rack and facilitates the heat transfer from the hot chips to the...
No, it isn't. Because we have eyeballs. Stupid. No, it isn't. There's a fan on every unit because that's how NVIDIA distributes them, you big dummy.
the cool water. This replaces giant air conditioning units that are found in typical data centers, and again, keeps each...
Typical data centers don't do the kind of processing on GPUs like AI does anyways. It's a different fucking job. You don't get points. That's like saying the spokes on a tire on a car are different than that on a bicycle. These hold a lot more weight because they have to. If you put fucking like car tires on a bicycle, it makes pedaling quite difficult.
Of the racks self-contained. Every fan is glowing with a colored light. That's not for aesthetics. It's a way for technicians to quickly identify failures. A healthy fan
glows blue and it turns red if it breaks.
Will have a blue light, while a bad fan will switch to a red light. And
genius. Did Elon Musk come up with this in the middle of the night? Did he wake up and go, Eureka?
And they just replace those individual units as they go down. While GPU chips do the heavy lifting for AI training, CPU chips are used for preparing the data and running the operating system. There are 2 CPUs for every 8 GPUs. All of the data used to train Grok is held in a massive hard drive storage system. Exabytes of text, images, and video that are fed into the training cluster. One exabyte...
No. They are not... Hold on, fuckwad. They are not fed into the training cluster. That would be for a closed AI system. It scrapes from Twitter. That's what it does. It uses all the available internet stuff that, you know, it can get its hands on, as far as, like, I don't know, the fucking manual for every Samsung television is loaded in there, that kind of stuff. But it scrapes from Twitter. That's what it does. That's why it's a prick, and why it's eventually going to be racist as fuck. Like, the guardrails on Grok are going to have to be, like, they're welded in, or it's just going to go, actually, I think I figured out the Jewish problem. I'm dead serious.
Exabyte is a billion gigabytes, and all of that data is handled by a super high-speed network system. Data is moved around Colossus by Ethernet, but this is not anything like your home network. The XAI network is powered.
This is not an ad for Grok. This is not even an ad for Tesla. It's certainly not an ad for Elon Musk. It's an ad for NVIDIA, if you ask me. The fuck does this do if this asshole do if he runs out of fucking NVIDIA chips? Or they refuse to sell to him, or somebody else buys, gets in line ahead of him because they make profit on their shit, right? It's probably why he needs to be in fucking government, so he can get access to the government budget that buys these things.
By NVIDIA Bluefield 3 DPUs. That's a data processing unit, and these chips can handle 400 gigabits per second through a network of fiber optic cables. That's around 400 times faster than a very fast home internet connection.
Oh, child. Oh, child. Don't think we're that stupid. I know, I nerd out. I know I get way out over my fucking skis, nerding out in front of people. Don't you dare show me a fucking plugged-in Ethernet system, a Cat 6 cable, and then show me a Wi-Fi router. Don't you fucking show me a blinking Wi-Fi router and say average, you motherfucker. You don't get to do that. He's the richest man in the world. It's not liquid. It's other people's money, and it can come and go. And he'd have to sell a bunch of his stock to get all that money out, and he can't, or it would tank the stock. That's the modern robber baron's conundrum.
Ethernet is necessary for scaling beyond the size of a traditional supercomputer system. See, AI training requires a massive amount of storage that needs to be accessible by every server in the data center. Now, this massive amount of equipment requires an equally massive amount of power. And again, XAI has done something totally unique with their energy delivery.
Oh man, this is going to piss me off, isn't it? This is going to make me mad. It's going to make me mad. I just know it. It's fucking, I'm afraid to watch. Hi, Rob Glenn. You're probably hating this as much as I am. Fuck me.
They are using Tesla energy. Colossus.
Tesla energy? Is that different than regular electricity? You mean they're using solar and batteries just like Apple does? You fucking weirdo.
Doesn't use solar energy. It's draining power from traditional generators. But there was a problem that XAI encountered when they started to bring their 100,000 GPU system online.
The Memphis power grid? Gee, what could possibly go wrong? I've always thought of Memphis as one of the biggest energy hubs in the country.
Any millisecond variations in power coming from the grid would create inconsistencies in the training process. We are talking very small fluctuations, but at this giant scale.
Okay, now he's just trying to piss me off. So you need so basically that array of fucking batteries outside is a wall wart. It's just to regulate the current. It's a current regulator. So you think a data center of any sort wouldn't have exactly that, you weirdo?
Those will add up quickly. So the solution was to bring in Tesla Megapack battery units. So what they do now is pipe in.
They pipe it all into the batteries. And then the energy that comes out of the batteries is consistent. They're using them as a transformer. Brilliant. What a great idea. Yeah, again, the word training.
Input power from the grid into the megapacks. Then the batteries discharge directly into the training cluster.
So who pees on the electric fence? Don't whiz on the electric fence. Look, I know lightning is yellow to most people, but this looks like nerd porn to me. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but this scene deserved to be cut out of Godzilla.
Cluster. This provides the super consistent direct.
I've never seen Optimus Prime pee in the mouth of a Decepticon before.
Energy required for the entire network to have the most efficient training session that is physically possible. This unique energy upgrade will become even more critical when XAI doubles.
Dude, I can do without the time-lapse plumber's crack.
The size of Colossus to over 200,000 H100 GPUs, something that Elon claims will happen within the next 2 months.
Yes. Remember when he said we'd have automatic taxis and that your Tesla would be driving around town picking up strangers in the middle of the night and dropping them off in places, and you could make money off of your car in 2017? No, by 2017. Sorry, he said it by 2017.
That is an insane rate of growth, and it's got the
Yeah, I agree. By the way, congrats to the people
established
at
AI
Ryobi
giant scale.
Because apparently the batteries that Ryobi uses are just killer. They work great. Yeah.
There have been reports that OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has already told Microsoft executives that he's concerned Elon will soon overtake them in access to computing power. Of course, this stuff ain't cheap. It was just a few.
That was when they were as he was telling Microsoft, buy me a bunch of the next best chips. That's when that happened.
Months ago that XAI raised $6 billion in venture capital funding, bringing
okay.
the one-year-old company to a valuation of $24 billion. That's a lot of money for a young company that only had one basic product on the market at the time. But they did have the richest man in the world at the controls, so obviously that counts for a lot.
Again, people add that 26 billion to his net worth. And it's not. He's got to, just like Trump's buildings, he's got to pay it back. This dude is Trump. He is to technology what Trump is to buildings. Trump Tower is a big, shiny building, but it smells like shit and it's largely empty. And in the beginning of it, it had a lot of promise. Just like SpaceX. There's a lot of great people working at SpaceX, and he ain't one of them. Just saying.
Now, we've just seen reports from the Wall Street Journal that Elon is already looking for a lot more money, enough to bring the value of XAI to $40
I'm sure he is.
billion. For a sense of scale, the industry giant OpenAI is currently valued at $157 billion, while a smaller scale operation like Perplexity, who makes a highly regarded AI search tool, they're expected to soon hit a valuation of $8 billion.
Right. Dude has Twitter, which started being worth $40 billion. Grok is the Twitter AI bot. That's the primary function of it. And Perplexity's already in the green. They're in the black in this.
As for Grok, the AI chatbot is continuing to rapidly evolve thanks to new power provided by Colossus. Just recently, Grok was upgraded to include vision capabilities, meaning that the AI can analyze and comprehend input from images alongside its existing text functions.
Awesome. So basically, you're telling me it can do what all the other AI companies can do 6 weeks later. Sounds very cutting edge. See where I'm going with this?
This new feature is integrated into the X social media platform for premium users. Now, when you see an image in a post, you can click a button to send that image to Grok, where you can now ask the AI any question you want about the content of that image.
Wow. You don't say. You mean the thing that's available in my Meta Nerd Halen glasses from the camera on it is now available just through a few clicks and I guess typing?
Grok can analyze or provide additional context. This
Awesome. So it can look at a picture and tell me what I'm seeing with my own eyes? Excellent. Now, granted, the value of AI being able to do that is, a lot of Perplexity, Claude, Copilot does this, I believe, right now. Certainly the Meta one does it. You can turn on the camera on your phone and go, what the fuck am I looking at? It allows them to, go through, and go, oh, what's the size of that bolt or nut in case you're looking at something and you're trying to figure out how to fix something, it'll tell you. Okay.
This is an important step for XAI.
It has value, but very seldom is it shit that comes up on X. X is really behind the curve, yes.
On their path towards achieving artificial...
Good, Jody. That's what I'm here for, and that's what's going to happen.
...general intelligence. That's a big buzz term right now. It basically...
Hey, asshole, if you're going to talk about AGI, don't talk ASI in the fucking beginning with artificial super intelligence, you absolute dipshit.
...just means an AI that can do pretty much anything. Essentially...
Yeah, that's great. That's a great explanation. Congratulations. Yeah, Rob, I think we can agree. My buddy Rob Glenn, I'm sure, is in the chat a little bit. Rob, I think we can agree that AGI means an AI that can do basically anything.
An artificial reproduction of the human mind and its incredible versatility.
No. No, that's not what it means.
We can write words. We can make music. We can solve complex problems, invent new things. In theory, an artificial general intelligence would have all of the knowledge of the entire human race, all concentrated into one super powerful computer brain, making it
Yes, we all saw the big glowing thing in the middle of the building in iRobot. Fabulous. Even your graphics are years behind.
Infinitely smarter than any human being. Then the AGI can use that knowledge to learn even more, to discover the undiscoverable, solve the unsolvable, invent the uninventable.
Yeah. If it's unsolvable, you can't solve it, or wouldn't actually. I think you're missing the word seemingly. Dum. Okay, so now, yes, in theory, this is arguably what we're up against. This is the threat. This is, and by the way, I think, is this the guy, the actual dude? Exposing flaw in phone systems. Yeah. There is a. Okay, now let's go with. Let's go with this.
I thought for those who.
Okay, so this is the other thing. This is the Neuralink thing. This is what. If Trump has a stroke and suddenly wakes up and sounds like Trump from, like he's instantly auto-quoting Art of the Deal all the time, it will because this asshole put a chip in his head. Trump might be he's certainly our first pumpkin president, but he might also be our first cyborg president by the end of this term.
Hadn't had an opportunity to work and be exposed to Neuralink's technology, you could just share a little bit about your founder story and what made you interested in brain-computer interface in the first place.
What made you interested in brain-computer interface in the first place? Now, this video goes out. You're watching Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide, by the way, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. I'm Hal Sparks, and I carry on. Why? If you're Alex Jones or if you're Glenn Beck, I think those two, both of them are going to have to explain to me why they want this asshole in charge of anything. Because everything they have ever told me about what's coming from a technological standpoint, the post-human movement, right? That meta-humans, all that shit, all the stuff they're like, beware of smart cities, all that shit. That's all this motherfucker talks about. And you know how they're always like, the private sector could do shit just fine. We don't need the government doing this stuff. Yes, the transhumanist movement. We don't need the government doing this shit. Well, apparently he does, because he can't do it without your tax dollars. And so now, the president of the United States and this techno dipshit are going to start talking sometime in the next year about how everybody needs a chip in their fucking head. And I don't want to hear shit from Glenn Beck and Alex Jones. You guys line up and be the test subjects. This is your fucking guy.
Sure. Well, this is going to sound somewhat esoteric and maybe a bit strange, but I was actually trying to figure out how to mitigate the risk of digital superintelligence to the degree that we can improve our bandwidth to our digital tertiary self. I think we can better align artificial intelligence with a collective human will.
Yeah, what he means is that if you can't beat them, join them. And we'll just hook this shit up to our brain so that we can control it with our thoughts. And that'll solve it. So and here's the thing. I don't know if this motherfucker has ever had a dream or a thought, like a worry, or an idea that might be bad, or an impulse. Probably not. But Elon Musk has never had, hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell, hanging out with Donald Trump, hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein in that crowd. He's probably never had an impulse that occurs in his head that he probably shouldn't act on in the moment. Right? Probably not. So what happens when you have a fucking Neuralink supercomputer input-output device in your goddamn brain and a deregulated connection to it, where you have to think real hard not to have it do something? Right? Are you fucking bananas? Look, I'm all for wearables, like put a little like futuristic crown. You know how like is it hold on, chat, I'll bring this out. Is it Logan's Run where everybody has a little like band across their forehead? No. Like that, you know, it's how like in 70s sci-fi, everybody always had like a string across their forehead that like the world's smallest crown, and it didn't hold their hair back, but it was just like here all the time. Occasionally they'd have a little like line on it. Does anybody think of a movie that has that? Out of Time? Was that a movie? Well, yeah. Out of Time is that one with no. It's a Denzel movie. Wasn't it that movie with the whatever? Anyways, Seven Aboard 9. That's funny, right? Logan's Run out of jewelry, whatever. But the point is, like, that just having a string across there. Everybody seemed to wear them in these futuristic movies, and everybody's like, "What the fuck is that for?" Right? His face looks like Tony Hawk's skateboard. Yeah, Buck Rogers. There were some people like that. The Queen Amidala, was it, or something like that? The woman that he kept trying to knock boots with. Yeah, Pamela Hensley, Ardala. Yeah, Ardala would wear a little crown kind of thing. Let's see if I can find it. But I like the bird dude with the feathers on his head. God damn it! I'll have you guys know what I'm talking about. There was always like small head jewelry everybody wore, and nobody could figure out what the fuck it was. Like, why do you have a string across your forehead? Well, arguably, that'd be a wearable. Brainstorm is a big wearable. Hold on, I'll show you a Brainstorm. That's on its way. You could argue that they've already Brainstorm movie. That's the one that Natalie Wood died after that, right? Yeah, so they have this headgear that, yeah, the kid puts it on and he almost dies. Let's see if I can find this. That's the big one. I'll show you it's a great movie. It's ahead of its time. They make the commercial version of this device. Fuck you. Where's the... maybe I'll put it in here. Lab coats. Why does it go for that? Brainstorm movie Headgear. Oh, let's put that on there. Yeah. So here's the demoing of this shit. I'll show you. And I gotta say, like, it's not that far off from the original. Like, these are the original versions of it, and then they make the kid puts it on. It's like a small device. And the idea is that somebody finally sees somebody die in the thing. They record these moments in it, and then you can play them back. And in it, they find out basically, he finds out what happens when you die, because he sees the other side. He puts the thing on, and this woman has had a heart attack, and he experiences like there is life beyond this because he sees it, because it was on her the entire time, so he can see her entire experience. But there's this the only picture I could find of it is like the little piece where the son puts it on, but it's like see this little headset piece? It's like a little, just little reading thing. There's a bunch of shit like that already. That I'm not against. Yeah, that looks like the Doc Brown helmet. It totally does. Right? I'm not against a wearable like that. There's a couple of them out there on the market. But there's no fucking way I'm letting somebody chip my brain. Least of all, this motherfucker. Please. Let me get this straight. Alex Jones likes this motherfucker? And his whole thing is like, yeah, we're totally going to have... I'm working on a way to... the easiest thing... I'm trying to figure out how to get chips in everyone's heads.
This is going to sound very strange, but so you can think of like basically our intelligence is being divided into roughly 3 areas. There's sort of like a limbic system, like the sort of.
Oh my God, controlled thoughts versus your autonomic nervous system, dummy. It's not that complicated.
Instinctual elements, the sort of like the cortex and the planning part.
No, you're not hooking up cords to somebody's fucking lizard brain, you dum-dum. See what I mean? Like here's what might finally end this dumbass is that everybody hears just enough from him to think he's smart. And now, because he's going to be tied to Trump's side, and he's going to have to explain shit because Trump doesn't fucking understand any of this stuff. And again, it's some people going like he's autistic or he's got Asperger's. That's not the point. There are autistic and people who have Asperger's who, when they're explaining things, have difficulty doing it, but they're right about what they're saying.
Then we also have a tertiary layer, which is all the computers and phones, applications, software that we use. So that you have a digital...
All right, and they're also slicing this up, but no, we don't. We don't have a tertiary intelligence beyond we look shit up.
Tertiary self. Basically, we're already an android, effectively. I think people feel this when they forget their phone. Forgetting your...
Yeah, it's my bit from fucking 2008. Yeah, when's my iPhone going to become a iPhone? I already wanted my eyeball. Yes, I'll stand in line at the Apple store to have them use a melon baller on my eyes so that I can just, because I'm sick of doing this. Yes, I wrote that bit fucking 10, 12 years ago.
Leaving a phone behind is like having missing limb syndrome. You're missing part of your digital tertiary. The constraint.
Except no one has ever lopped off their hand and said, finally, I'm free of it. I no longer have to masturbate. Sometimes you leave your phone behind because you want to leave your fucking phone behind.
On human-machine symbiosis is bandwidth. What is especially output bandwidth? The output bandwidth of a human is less than 1 bit per second over the course of a day. So if you have 86,400 seconds in a day, the number of output bits that you produce, maybe there's some record.
This is nonsense. No, it is not. The output bits of a human being is 1 bit per second. What the fuck? Honest to God, this is just bullshit. This is nonsense. The calculations and the output of a human being is 1 bit a day, like a second. That is unfathomably stupid.
There are cases where it's above 1 bit per second, but very few people produce 86,400 output bits. So most people are averaging less than 1 bit per second over a 24-hour period.
Nonsense. What the fuck does that mean? Like, even this guy has to be going, I don't know, this sounds like nonsense. Because it is. This is fucking dumb. Whatever are you talking about?
And when we do speak, they say the number of symbols per second of speech typing is quite low, especially if it's going through.
No. Whoa. I don't give a fuck about quite low, motherfucker. One letter in binary is more than 1 bit. Or we are super efficient because we're putting out 1 bit of the level of data entry it takes on a computer, but within it is poetic thought. Like, this is fucking stupid.
A phone. Then you just sort of have to.
And by the way, maggots, this is your hero. And I don't, if you don't jump to the front of the fucking line when he starts chipping people, I'll know you're full of shit. Okay? I don't want to hear anything. Front of the fucking line. Early adopters. Anything he says, if you're not buying one of his electric cars and driving it around, this motherfucker doesn't have hybrids. He's not going to do hydrogen cars, all electric. Why you're not driving an electric car if he's the most brilliant man in the fucking world and that's what he sells? I'm just calling you out. That's my bit for the day. Jesus Christ. 1 bit per second. Fuck off.
2 slow-moving meat sticks that are trying to type letters on a phone. So
2 slow-moving meat sticks that are trying to type letters on a phone. Hey, human beings, that's his jokey name for you, meat sticks.
So you really have just a few taps per second of characters. So your phone is like a supercomputer in your hands, and it is desperately trying to figure out what you want to say.
I'll tell you, I've personally experienced that phantom limb syndrome when I actually can't find my phone, and I hadn't thought of myself as a cyborg till you challenged me to think that way. But you're in a room of folks who've devoted their lives to neurologic disease, and I'm...
So could you please stop talking like an asshole and address what they're talking about? And don't say meat sticks when people deal with people with ALS all the time and spinal cord injuries.
I must confess to you that I had never actually thought of the output of the brain in terms of bits per second. But when you frame it that way, it makes it really clear why there may be a broader opportunity to make that virtual...
That's all right. My fucking earpiece, like my earbud is falling out. Jesus Christ. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? There is no, that is not a thing. No one is challenging you to think that way.
Cyborg that we have now with our phone a little bit more efficient. So that's, as a starting point, what prompted your interest in Neuralink.
Yeah, so...
I'll translate. What you're saying seems like bullshit. Will you please get on with it?
Basically, I thought, okay, in order to have better human-AI symbiosis, we must solve the bandwidth problem. Below a certain bandwidth, we are basically just stationary to a computer.
Oh my fucking God. Do people think faster than they type? Yeah. Do people think faster than they talk? Yes. Sometimes that's good.
And at 1 bit per second, that's a very low data rate when computers are doing trillions of bits per second.
So
yeah, so fucking what? That's what they're supposed to do, stupid. The humanity is in the pause, if you will, between what I would do and what I should do. And a computer or a machine that's on a repetitive motion, there's all kinds of things that axles can spin a lot faster than I can move my arm. What's your fucking point? That's why we make them. But there's a reason why we don't We got to figure out a way where I could turn the axle on my car by hand. It's just like, this is the stupidest fucking analogy.
When you think about brain-machine interface, why did you select the technical approach you did? I know a lot of thought's gone into that.
Yeah, so...
Are you sure? Because after watching what we've seen so far, I'm not convinced.
If you say, like, okay, we need to have ultimately 1 million bits per second or a billion bits per second, gigabit per second interface, then that means you need an implant. And ultimately, we'll need to replace the skull, and it's going to be a zillion wire. I mean, this is some sci-fi, bizarre sci-fi stuff, and I'm not, this is certainly optional, hopefully.
Mandatory replacement of my skull would have been a problem.
Mandatory chip and brain is not what we're saying here, for sure. But at a certain point, you're good.
No, he's saying mandatory chip in your brain is not, we might just have to replace the whole skull. The chip won't do it. Also, maggots, like I said, here comes your chance. Before the end of this next term, super genius is going to replace your fucking skull. And I don't want to hear you, I don't want to hear a fucking peep. You're going to get your government chip like a fucking big boy.
You say, like, okay, how many electrodes are needed in order to interface with, have a whole brain interface?
Trizillia bagillions.
Yeah, I've heard you mention that larger goal of whole brain interface. One thing that's really struck me by the approach that's been taken is, I think as neurosurgeons, we often contemplate the natural history of the disease and competing risk and benefit.
This is what happens when a person with real knowledge in their area talks to someone who is simply bullshitting and tries to keep them on track to something that actually resembles reality. Because there is something to brain-computer interfaces. Those things will happen in future, sure. When, who can say, who will start this and who will be, make the biggest advances. The idea that it's going to happen here and not in the Netherlands is a bit silly because they're way far ahead in a bunch of these things as well. But that's where he thinks he's going, and he wants everybody to think he's building super brains. And this is a great way to bullshit because so few people are going to want to do it that you can put it off for fucking ever. Nobody is lining up to do this. Although maggots, again, you'll never need a vaccine again. The robo brain will just tell you you're sick and tell you to report to a cleansing cylinder or some shit.
And Neuralink, as a company, has started with folks who have ALS and spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
These kind of first steps in terms of technical approach. So we'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Again, this is him trying to get him on track to actually say something worthwhile instead of just going, in the future, we'll all live in the orb.
Yeah, absolutely. Long-term goal.
Oh, and by the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. I'm Hal Sparks, and I will continue to Hal Sparks as long as there is a need for Hal Sparkses. And if you're a troll or a maggot, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm just reminding you of my name so that it can pop into your head next week at a really inopportune time. All right.
Like I said, is mitigating civilizational risk associated with a divergence of biological and digital intelligence. That's the long-term goal. Obviously, then...
Okay, what he's talking about there, sort of, is what happens if computers get smarter than people? Well, it depends on your definition of smart, capable, and what they're hooked up to. What happens if Skynet gets self-aware? Okay, well, define self-aware. It can think. You can trick it into thinking it's aware when it isn't. You can have it play a cyclical program in the same way that you can make a piece of like factory equipment keep stacking shit even though there's nothing to stack until it beats a hole in the table.
You got to parse that into, like, well, what are we going to do tomorrow?
Yeah.
So the starting point with the first Neuralink device is 1,000 electrodes, and with just 100 of those electrodes active, if you take our first few patients, we are setting world records. Admittedly,
these are world records that are pretty low. Yes, it's really easy to set a world record on the first thing. Yay, you're in the Guinness Book. Doesn't mean it works. I mean, it's congratulations. You're in the Guinness Book for what? You're the first person to get their dick caught in a car door. Now, good luck getting it out.
The world records that are pretty low, but we're getting around 10 bits per second.
Mm-hmm. Then the output of humans isn't 1 bit per second, especially if they're talking. Translate my talking into use a speech to text program. Tell me how many bits that takes. How about this? Have a computer work out a joke I'm telling and tell me what the translation in bits and memory required for it to figure out what the fuck I'm saying and get the joke. How many bits, motherfucker? How many? It's a trick question. 70 bazillion. Kazillion, trillion, Google is what billion, zillion. Yeah.
And there's a path to 1,000 bits per second, which would be literally 100 times more than the next record.
Yes, technology is exponential. Congratulations.
So we want to do the implants in where there's the highest gain and the least risk. So we call.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the highest gain, least risk is watching how it works with you. How about that? And I'm sure it won't look anything like the dude in Scanners.
Well, first implant telepathy, which really just interfacing with the motor cortex, and it's basically looking at signals as though somebody moved their arm and just reading that signal and then sending that signal to the patient's phone or computer so they can then move the cursor around just by thinking. If people have seen the videos of Nolan, it's pretty impressive what he can do. In fact, shortly after getting the implant, he spent all night playing video games just by thinking.
Yeah, and those are the records you're talking about in those first two prime patients where you're able to extract signals from their brain at record bits per second. And enable them to work in the world as those of us who lose their phone would use today.
Yeah. They hook up areas of your brain you think back right, left right, whatever, and that's how you type, or you fucking make like pong paddles and go up, down. You think when I think up, it goes up. When I think down, it goes down. And they measure that, and then I just do that again. You can do that with wearables already.
Yeah, absolutely. And
absolutely fucking nothing. Wait 1 second. This shit's been around outside your fucking head for a long time. Here we go. This is here you go. Jesus Christ. Why would I let this asshole drill holes in my head when I could just wear a silly hat? Good Lord. Where's the Neuralink calibration in PNA Nexus? This is a guy named Hussein Alawaya, a graduate student in Dr. Jose de Milan's lab, wears a cap packed with electrodes that is hooked up to a computer. The electrodes gather data by measuring electrical signals from the brain, and the decoder interprets the information and translates it into game action. And so how you think about it, like, get the fuck out of here. We are Devo, absolutely. It's fucking stupid. Hold on. You can buy shit on Amazon right now. There's there's the Epic, which is like $1,500. It's probably the best one. Let's see, nature. I'll open this one. There's brain computer interfaces. I'm trying to find like the commercially. Here's fucking results. I don't want books. Oh, that's what they were asking for. Hold on. Let's see this one. I'll just show you this one real quick. Where are you? Get out of here. I don't need data. I need data. I cannot make bricks without clay. Let's see. A wearable Where are we? Here we go. Brain computer devices control machines with your mind, BCI. The groundbreaking wearable brain interface. The Oura Ring. I don't want the book. Okay. I will find one. Wink on here. Because there's this really cool one that looks like, it kind of looks, yeah, the Mind Link. There it is. The biofeedback device. Open that one up. That one's available on Alibaba. Perfect. Neurosity Crown. That's on, yeah. Cognixion. I'm just going to get a couple of these. There we go. So here you go. Where are you? Yeah, this thing's kind of cool. See this thing? It's it works on focus and stuff, and it trains you on your. Did somebody notice my Sherlock quote? This one fits on your. It looks like the devil's horns. I've been waiting for. Talk about how like they're gonna make us all computer cyborgs, and this picture to come out. I've been waiting for because it looks like horns. I'm like waiting for one of these dumb fucks to make a video about like they're gonna make us all into robot people or whatever. Would Amazon even notice a boycott? No. This is. So Cognixion, this tracks like your eye, and it has these electrodes in the back of your head. And it turns you into Lando Calrissian's guard. So not only does it track your eye movements, but it also, if you close your eyes, you can still track this. Or like, again, no holes bored in your brain necessary. This is one of the test ones. There's another one of the testy things. Yeah, there's a bunch of these that clip onto your ear. There are these little cat ears that track your, where is it? Yeah, this is the one that I was talking about. Review highlights advances in wearable things. This is like a full crown, but this one right here you wear on, and it puts the electrodes on your forehead and that kind of stuff, and you can control your computer. They already have these for patients. This shit, like you can get these things already work. Oh, this guy too. This one actually is a mood changer. This doesn't control anything. What it does is it sends impulses to your nervous system in some areas where the nerves are very close to the skin, and it either calms you down or wakes you up or focuses you or whatever, in the same way that being slapped in the face would, or having your feet rubbed would. It's that kind of, biofeedback a little bit. This guy. This thing I think is the epic. It's awesome and stupid at the same time. Like at one of these days, just know that I'm going to do Friday Eye wearing one of these fucking things. And you're going to go, why is he doing that? And then you're going to hear a voice speaking on the thing that's the AI going, I'm glad you asked me that, Hal. And then this is Next Mind. Yeah. So this is the AI based one. So hold on one second. And again, these are options that don't involve this motherfucker drilling holes in your goddamn head. One last thing, and I know I'm nerding out about this. And Snap bought this. So in 2022. So Snapchat will have access to this thing. So this is what it looks like. This little guy, and it wears you wear it on the back of your head, and because there's a ton of activity in the back of your skull, and that's why you get a lot of tension back here in your head, is because a lot goes on back there, but also you react to it. There's a lot of neural activity and a lot of like physical activity. They use it for ALS patients, spinal cord injuries. Stephen Hawking used it. Yes, absolutely, Andrea. And these are things that are already available, and you don't have to. And they pull a lot more information. Again, you can play video games with these fucking things, and they don't require this dickhead putting a chip in your goddamn brain.
I think we'll get to the point pretty quickly where someone with a Neuralink implant will outperform somebody who's using their hands to play a video game.
No, you won't.
What do you think the timeline for that is?
1,000 years. At his rate, no. That shit like that is going to happen. It ain't going to come from him.
We won't hold you to it.
Sure.
Yeah. It'll come right after automated Tesla taxis that you can buy and take you to work and drop you off and then go make money for you.
I mean, I do have a habit of being optimistic with respect to timelines.
You don't say.
But if I wasn't optimistic, I wouldn't be starting these.
Wait. Did you hear the laughter? This is an audience of neuroscientists, people who are actually fucking brilliant. These are not just brain surgeons, like skull surgeons. These are brain surgeons. These are people who are dealing with, like, how do we regrow nerves, shit like that. That's what these people are gathering. And listen when he says, I have a habit of being optimistic with respect to timelines. Listen to the audience.
I do have a habit of being optimistic with respect to timelines. But if I wasn't optimistic, I wouldn't be starting these companies, probably.
Yeah.
Do you hear the laughter?
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
What are you talking about? Every business startup is optimistic. Even people who make prepper food are optimistic that the world's going to end and people are going to need to eat their fucking, paint bucket pancakes, you dumb motherfucker. Optimism is the default activity of humans. You wouldn't eat if you didn't think you were going to live to shit it out.
but I think given that we're already pretty much at a point where we're pretty close to on par with the video game.
No, you aren't. Because so are these people, and you don't need a fucking hole in your head. People are already playing video games at a very high speed anyways without putting fucking impulse nerve sensors in people's skulls, you dumb fuck. We're already there with just wearables.
You can play a video game at a comparable competent level to someone with hands. I think with our second generation device, which will have 3,000 electrodes, and we'll get a lot better at placing those electrodes.
We'll get a lot better at placing those electrodes in your head.
It's only 100 electrodes being effective. We'll both improve the yield and we'll increase the number of electrodes.
So you're going to increase the number of electrodes when you increase the number of electrodes. And increasing the number of electrodes will give you more feedback from more electrodes. Slow down. You're making me feel like the person in sci-fi movies that goes, "Speak English, Doc."
So we'll go from, say, 100 electrodes that are reading to, I don't know.
Yes, if anybody has trouble with math, I think he's going to assert that 3,000 is a higher number than 100.
Out of 3,000 electrodes, maybe 15.5, so like 1,500 are reading. So at that point, the data rate is far in excess of what someone playing a video game with their hands could do.
That's not a limitation of the hands. That's a limitation of the controller. All you're saying is you'd give them a bunch of keyboard shortcuts. Of course they can play faster if they have a jump, fire, roll button as opposed to jump, fire, roll. Or I have to go up, up, down, down, left, right, center, center to get a fucking ammo pack to drop from the sky. And all they have to do is go, and it happens. Of course they'll play faster because they don't have to actually do the work of playing the physical game. There's the point of a video game is eye-hand coordination. Stupid.
And we can reduce the latency. The moment you think of a move, it happens instantly on the computer.
Anybody see the flaw in that? Anybody? The minute you think of a move, it happens on the computer. Anybody see the problem, potentially, with that? Yes. Wow, he's invented hotkeys. That's exactly right. Everything's a hotkey that does 30 motions at once. Because you're like, oh, shoot. Like, thank God that the controller slows you down.
As opposed to what, currently if you play a video game, you have to move your hand. So that's like you've got to send signals to the muscles. The muscles
Yeah, that would be all the bits that humans produce.
have to move. Your finger takes a certain amount of time to move. So you've got to, you basically got to move the meat puppet. If you don't have to move, actuate the muscles in your hand. Your finger's going to move at a certain rate, like millimeters per second. But if you don't have to do any of that, you can literally think it immediately with no latency. You'll outperform someone who has to use the hands.
Right, but you also might think contradictory things and it can't read exactly what you're doing. And if it's not getting the impulses right, if you have a conflicted thought about what to do, it will negate, it'll negate whatever you're trying to do, and your character will basically just freeze while the other person is going shoot, 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 stumble, thump, finish him, while your brain told all of your like, what does it do when happens? Because when you're gaming, you can separate from pushing the buttons because there's a secondary motion and you separate those things. But if your brain is just all you're fucked.
Yeah, I think as surgeons, we really take pride in being efficient and using our hand, but when you're a reductionist like that, it actually makes me feel like I'm actually not particularly efficient. If you could just think and do it, I think I'd probably get a lot more.
No.
Done. One of the things that struck me.
By the way, this guy tries to be cute about these things, and it's fine. He's trying to be the host. Like, if I didn't have to use my hands, I'd get a lot more done. If I could masturbate just like this, I'd save so much time. But then I gotta wash my hands, and I have to clean, and I've got to trim my nails because I go wild. Like, yeah, if you took that out of the equation, I suppose.
In terms of the technical approach is obviously you have the implant and then you're extracting those signals and have a recording algorithm, and then you're actually affecting an action. And in one of the patients you actually had a lead retraction, but then we're able to tune the recording algorithm to actually recover that function. And could you maybe say a little bit about that kind of vertically integrated approach? And
oh my God, he's just about to be dazzled by the part he doesn't understand. It didn't work, and here's why it didn't work, and we made it work.
How that's going to let you scale a little bit?
Sure. Well, since really none of this stuff existed before, we had to design and build everything from scratch. And I mean, it's basically like having an Apple Watch or a Fitbit that replaces a piece of skull, and you've got.
So it kind of has been done. Did you hear what he said? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may. Did you hear what he just said? This is Mr. Super Genius. And granted, I suppose, Chandra, oh, thank you. Ask them if they've done counting.
Be like having an Apple Watch or a Fitbit that replaces a piece of skull, and you've got the.
Yeah, brilliant. So that's the plan. So what if we took, this is what weed and wealth does to people. Sit around smoking on, what if we took your Apple Watch and all of its sensors and we just put like little tendrils on them, and we drill a hole in someone's skull and just put the Apple Watch there. Like, we cover your head in Apple Watches, but we have digital like optic fibers that have a sensor on the end that's really small, and we attach those to your brain, and then we go fuck ourselves.
These electrodes, very, very fine electrodes that are implanted with a surgical robot.
Maybe you can share a little bit about the robot, the R1 robot that's used to implant the threads.
Yeah, so the threads are really too small to be manipulated by hand, and they need to be placed with extreme precision very quickly. The brain is moving.
Yeah, so we're developing a robot that can grab you by the skull and put electrodes in it really fast. We just come up, knock you out, give you a little Dexter jolt, and put you in a chair. Take the top of your head off like a fucking jar of peanut butter, the screw top method of Dr. Huffar. And then when it's done, you wake up and you're like, I feel like a woman.
All the time due to breathing and heartbeat. It's not just sitting there. It's like a pulsing thing. So, and you're trying to get.
It is, you're right. It is like a pulsing thing. It's a lot like that. Yeah. The brain, that's how I describe the brain that way. It's like a pulsing thing. I'm beginning to think Trump knows more about brain surgery than this asshole.
An electrode to a specific depth while this, Jello balloon is just moving around all over the place. So it's kind of an impossible thing to do by hand. These threads are just too tiny, and the level of precision required is beyond what people can do.
Gee, you mean like a syringe gets stuff into the skin in a way that just slicing the skin open and pouring the insulin in wouldn't do? Does this asshole think we invented scalpels because we couldn't get our fingernails thin enough?
I'd maybe liken it to being similar to computer-controlled machining or a 3D metal printing where you've got a laser welding tiny bits of metal dust. There's just no way that humans do not have the level of precision necessary to implant the electrodes.
This is true. This is how all technology works, fuckwad. All of it. We know. No. How does he fucking think open heart surgery works? Do you think you just go like that and go, hey, you hold this. Okay, I'm going to take the heart out. We don't need any. Put the knife and the scissors down. I got this. Frack. Fuck you. What are you talking about?
It's, to fractions of a millimeter of XYZ position.
Well, it's interesting. Obviously, as a group of surgeons, many of us to varying stages have incorporated robotics into our practice.
Yes. They're way ahead of you, dum-dum.
When you hear precision exceeding human capacity, you think, is this going to be a disruption or is this an augmentation to what surgeons do? And I know you have some thoughts around that, and there's maybe some analogies in ophthalmology, so would love to hear that perspective.
Yeah.
So an analogy to ophthalmology. Yeah.
So I think the ophthalmology analogy is the right one. With LASIK, an ophthalmologist will oversee perhaps a half a dozen or a dozen LASIK machines and make sure the machine is the patient getting the right operation in the correct eye, and is the machine operating properly. But thereafter, the patient will sit in the LASIK chair, and the robot's going to basically laser your eyeball. And now this is much better than someone getting a hand laser and hand lasering your eyeball.
Really? Is it? You think? I wouldn't have thought that. So I should go to the corner LASIK guy, Dr. Shaky's eyeball emporium. Fuck you. Why do people think this guy is smart? That's all right. Shit. Okay. You want to talk about what the job might be for me beyond, the obvious pushback shit that I have to do? It is going to be my job to help people understand just how stupid this motherfucker is. Now, I don't want to tell everybody. Hang out, okay? So settle in here, all right? I'm just telling you guys, because I want the maggots to think he's a genius, because I can't wait for them to show up to get their early adopter 500 electrode brain implant to make them super duper smart. Make them art of the deal smart. And suddenly they wake up and they're like, wow, I feel great. I just want to buy gold shoes and Chinese Bibles.
Which would have varying results. I think it'll be something similar to LASIK, where you have perhaps a neurosurgeon overseeing half a dozen or a dozen of the Neuralink robots that are doing the implants and just...
Yeah, of course they would.
Making sure it's the right implant in the right location for the right purpose, and that everything's okay with the patient. So it would be like a massive amplification. I think it's kind of necessary that it be a massive amplification because...
Yeah. Hey, Glenn Beck, Alex Jones, where the fuck are you guys? Massive amplification, multiple Neuralink systems going on at once. One doctor just kind of checking off, is that the right brain? He's got the right brain, does he? Yeah, he's got the. Is this? Did he sign the form? Yeah, Captain. He doesn't have to use his real name. We'll just go with his online Twitter handle. What is it? Captain Maggot 1990. Yeah, cool. He check. And yeah, there's a little extra blood there, but it's fine. It's fine. It'll clean up. Or whatever. We'll give him he gets a free shirt when he leaves, anyways. It's all good.
Because there's simply not enough neurosurgeons to do this all by hand. It's like physically impossible.
Yeah.
Because we're
past. They know that. These are neurosurgeons, you dumb motherfucker.
We're talking about ultimately doing tens of millions of these things. Like maybe there's 8 billion people in the world. I don't know, maybe at least a few billion are going to want this, maybe more.
Yeah, this is investor talk, and it's fucking nonsense.
So then how do you get billions of devices?
Yeah, well, you obviously start with maggots. You obviously start with anybody. You get a discount if you have your Make America Great Again hat. Come into Elon Musk's, Brain Mart and bring your maggot hat, and you can wear it out because it'll help cover the stitches. And you'll be one of the first billion. What? All right. Work with me on this. Is there any... By the way, you're watching House Sparks Megaworldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams, and that will continue to be true for the foreseeable future because do good, be good is what we do around here. First of all, if Trump supporters don't line up to let this motherfucker give them brain surgery, I'm going to call bullshit on everything they believe. And secondly, that anybody thinks this guy is actually smart and isn't just spitballing sci-fi and seeing if he can hire engineers to make shit happen, and when they don't, he fires them or just continues to bullshit investors until the absolute last day, which is the Trump plan, which is why they're buddies. I mean, it's going to be necessary. It'll be incredibly important for people to start recognizing this stuff, right? But when are the Alex Joneses of the world and the fucking, especially Glenn Beck and all these motherfuckers, do you think they saw this video? I mean, he's their fucking hero. They think it's him and Trump, and fuck, these two are the fucking pillars, man. They're the ones holding up America. These two guys. Trump and Elon, we love Elon. You got Elon. He's doing the things with the rocket and fucking bing bong bing, and it's all burnt and the paint job's fucked up, and he'll hug you like a baby. And Elon, we love Elon, right? Where the fuck is? Hey, Joe Rogan, are you getting Neuralink? I would. You know what it would? The beauty. The fucking beauty that it would be for me to sit down and watch what I just watched with you guys, with any of those motherfuckers. As a matter of fact, I'm going to end this video, if I may, with a challenge to all of these assholes. Hey, you're feeling good right now, right? You're on a high. You're probably feeling really confident right now. So here's my challenge. Go find that video. It's called Elon Musk Gives Amazing Neuralink Update. From Farzad or whatever, but it's an interview he did at CNS, their 2024 annual meeting. You can go watch the whole thing, the neurosurgery gathering. He gave a special talk. You can even watch this dude's cut down version of it. Okay, watch that whole thing. That's it. I dare you. I fucking dare you. I'm not even going to end it with like, watch it and then tell me you still think he's smart. Watch it and then tell me you think, I don't need to hear anything. Because I don't think, I wouldn't trust what you said anyways. Just fucking watch it. Joe Rogan, watch that fucking talk. Glenn Beck, watch that fucking talk. Please, this motherfucker is going to chip at least a couple of billion people, and he's going to have multiple machines running at once and a doctor walking around with a fucking clipboard making sure it's the right brain. Get the fuck out of here. You won't do it. You won't do it. Because he's a mile wide and an inch deep. Intellectually, Elon Musk is hung like a can of tuna. These thimble-dicked motherfuckers think girth and depth are the same fucking thing. And you're going to tell me that this motherfucker's going to outsmart everybody else? You think even with access to the fucking White House, he's going to get a head start like that? Like, you think he's actually the richest man in the world? Putin is. And this whole thing about like XAI is going to be worth $40 billion. Apple's a $1 trillion company. So is Nvidia. There is no X without Nvidia. You want to call him an engineering marvel and a genius and all that fucking shit? Then why is he buying his chips? Why hasn't he got his own lithography machine that is better than the TSMC one, and he's printing his own fucking chips that outpace and work better because the Neuralink scientists are working with fucking to make digital organic chip, because he doesn't know any of this shit. It's nonsense. And I got news for you. The tariffs are going to drive prices up. That hasn't changed because he won the fucking election. Right? The three-card money dude always wins. But he'll let you win the first couple of times. Doesn't mean the game's not rigged anymore. And that said, people have been asking, and I feel like you guys need it. Let me see if I can talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go get a cat. By hook or by crook. Chippers. They want their cat. It's okay. Murphy's a man. Murphy's a handsome man. I know, it takes a while. Hi, Murph. Say hi, Murph. Yeah, tell him. You're a handsome man. I know you hate it. But you're a sweetheart. You're Murphy. You're Batman. You are. Yeah. Well, tell him a story, Murph. What were you doing? You were? Oh, you hate that? Well, I know. Well, yeah, I know you hate being picked up. What are you going to do? You don't know? Well, tell them a story. Tell them a story. You do too. You know lots of good stories. Uh-huh. Well, I know I need to clean up around here. You're right. Well, don't judge me. I've been through a lot lately. I have. All right. All right, here you go. There you go. Down you go. You okay? Well, then, all right, leave if you want to leave. I love you too. Where you going? Where you going? Upstairs? Fine. Have a good night, Murph. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Murphy. Murphy is our cat that will not shut the fuck up. He's particularly good at talking at 4 o'clock in the morning. Big Tuesday. All right, like when I'm sleeping in, like Tuesday, Thursdays, I don't have morning shows. He didn't care. I could stay up and work, or I can whatever, you know, on like Monday night, Wednesday night, I could stay up and work, and sleep in a little. No, getting up at the same every fucking day. Murphy is a Russian blue. That's why we don't trust him. Is he named after RoboCop? I would like to think so. Summer named him, so I don't know. Summer gives her cats the same, like, names with the same first letter. So Murphy, Maddie, Molly. I had Chip and Chud, but that was an accident. Chud I named. I totally copped to Chud, and we miss her very much. But Chip, that was his name when we were fostering him, because he had little black spots on him. So he looked like vanilla chip ice cream, I think is where they got it from. But that was his foster name, and it stuck. I didn't give him a new one. We didn't update it because we weren't expecting to keep him. And then, of course, he was a foster fail. He does flip me the paw. Yeah. So, yeah, I miss Chud. Yeah, he is spying on me. He's wandering around. He actually went over, I think he went over to look at the robot. Oh, you're saying, Hal, what robot? If you weren't on the 24-hour live stream, you might not have met the robot. And there was a lot of stuff going, hi, Murph. Excuse me. Yeah, you're okay. Where'd she go? Oh, no battery. Sorry. Needs to charge. I'll show you guys. It's not running right now, so I show you. This is Luna. And Chip was very scared of Luna. It needs to be charged, so she's not on right now. Chip was very nervous about Luna and would not come downstairs if it was on. And then today, for whatever reason, Luna just decided, I think there's this weird thing where it can recognize pets now. It knows a pet versus a person. And so it does this stuff. Like when it saw Chip, it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen, having to do with a robot that I actually own. And it went like this. It went like this and saw Chip, and it went like that. And it moved its ears down, and then it backed up a little bit, and then it looked a little up like that. It did all this, like, the stuff that they teach you to do with felines to make yourself make them comfortable with you. It did that stuff. And Chip was fine after that. Didn't run away. It was super weird. Yeah, the Luna is cool. It's very R2D2, although it has ChatGPT in it now, and it doesn't quite know when to listen. So the fucked up part is, it will sometimes, if you go, hello, Luna, and talk to it, you're supposed to be able to get it to do little goofy things, and it's got AI in it, so it will react to it. But it will also, since it's got ChatGPT, it can talk, and so it will get into talk mode. Anyway, somebody was saying, where is this? Yeah, I'll show it to you guys later once I charge it back up. It was running around playing with the cats for a while. So somebody was saying, how I'm suffering from election not going our way, depression, 4 more years of Trump. I can't believe America voted this disgrace back into office. I don't understand. Chris, it's an awful thing. We will get through it together. And all a circumstance outside of our circle of influence can do with us is codify who we are as good people. We will get up every day, do good and be good. And if we find somebody who's being victimized by this circumstance and we can help, we will do it. That's all we can do. And what my job is to keep you as aware and informed as I can, and keep your mood up so that when that shit happens, when stuff goes sideways, you're the person who's useful. In that circumstance, you are the valuable person. You're the one that doesn't panic. You're the one that goes, I know what this is. I know what they're saying. I have a reaction. I know what can help. But if you're in fight or flight because that's where they want you, you're not 100% you. And so what I'm trying to do is be 100% me so you can be 100% you. Because I don't have whatever skills you might have. I don't have the ideas that you will have. Right? I will think the way I think and react the way I react. And I will, I have I would say, a pretty damn broad view of the world. But I can't think of everything, and I wouldn't react because of my life experience the same way you might. So we need you. We need you. We need you to be fully you. And that's my job, is to help you get there and stay there. Right? So, and if you're not there yet, I'll do my best to get you there. Right? Because I haven't stopped caring about the stuff I care about. I haven't stopped loving the people I love, worrying about the same issues that I worry about. I'm not okay with all of this, with any awful in the world. Right? We knew even if Trump went away that the rest of it wouldn't go with him. And honest to God, and I'm like understanding everybody's smarting on the prediction markets, and we can play that game later on about whether she was going to win or he was going to win. But now we are where we are. We knew that the people around him would still be there trying to do what they're trying to do everywhere. And he had left abortion up to the states, for example, and that challenge would be there for all those states. And even getting a national Roe level of law passed was going to be a struggle with the House the way it was, and all that kind of stuff. We know that. It was still going to be work. So I'm still here to do that work. And if I let them diminish me, I'm not good at what I do. Right? So that's what I'll be here doing. Yep. Fight the good fight every moment. Yeah, I'll sing. I'll wait to sing some Triumph for you eventually, but yeah, stay frosty, people. Keep your head on swivel. And I got to tell you, and also if you want to be, if you want to be mad, even if you want to be mad at me, that's good. Send it my way. This is how I deal, and if you hate it, then that's okay too. That's how you deal. As long as whatever you do to deal gets you to a better you, so that you get to a situation where they haven't got you on your back foot all the time. Whatever works. Whatever works. If you want to throw some awful my way, you're welcome to. Yeah, if you're exhausted, that's okay too. Meanwhile, I got you. So, love you guys. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you for... and interestingly enough, Rob will be on with me tomorrow for Friday Eye. And I have a feeling with Elon this close to the White House, people might start paying attention to Friday Eye a little more. Huh?